All right, we're recording. I never know if the Zoom's going to work. Welcome to the Things I Know this week's edition. I don't even have a date necessarily. I said last week that I was bringing on, I don't know, we have lots of titles for ourselves. Bestie, work wife, I don't know. What else would you call us?
Oh my gosh, all around like the person I would go to with anything. That's how I feel about you. So,
That's how I feel about you.
yeah,
So this is Amy Douglas, and Amy lives in Indianapolis, and we met, gosh, has it been 2 years now?
it has been
Probably.
2 years. Yeah.
So we met at HCI. We were both in Mastery together. We got
Yep.
hooked up in our mastermind group, which was awesome. And I don't know, it was kind of just kind of an immediate connection, I would say.
Definitely.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
we met in May online on Zoom, and then we
Yep.
met in person in July. So yeah, I think next week will probably be 2 years when you're here
Yes, it
visiting.
is.
Or
Mhm.
not next week, because this is next week.
Yeah.
We're taping this early, is my point. And the reason I brought Amy on is because I always make reference in my posts about coaching around support and accountability. And for 2 years, in really adapting ways, that's exactly what Amy and I have done for each other. So first, it was within the kind of community of the mastermind. And then really about a year ago, when the mastermind ended, and you and I just kind of shifted. We really started focusing on money mindset. That's what really started all this, wasn't it? I was trying to even
Yes.
remember.
Yep.
And we decided to start texting each other every day with our, I guess, visions for ourselves. Would you
Mhm.
say that?
Yep.
And so and again, this is not a big surprise to anybody because I post them all the time. We would pull cards. They were specifically around manifestation and the laws of attraction. And we would just text each other each day our card. And sometimes we respond and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we
Yep.
had added information, sometimes we didn't. But it was just that sort of check in. And what was cool, since I'm in LA, I'd wake up to it. You'd probably get it mid to late afternoon for me. But um, so tell me about accountability for you.
So, some people would think about accountability and they're like, oh my gosh, I have to be accountable to someone else. They feel like there's work involved. And I've never felt that way. I never felt that way in our mastermind together.
Right.
And since you and I have been doing this every day, what I feel like accountability is I feel like you, Lisa, know what the intention I'm not only holding for myself for that day, but a bigger picture vision. And so sometimes what you share with me, you feel like is meant for me. And it's like somebody else is on the job with me, who's holding the space for me about what I'm trying to create for myself. And that just like, you can't get a better feeling than that.
Yeah.
And, and the best part is that even though we do that with each other every day, we've also done it outside of the norm. The first thing in the morning when we are going through our morning routine or whatever our practice is, we'll have something that'll come into our awareness and we're like, I know I'm meant to share that.
Uh-huh.
And we've done that. And so
Yep.
again, it's the accountability of I'm on the right path, all things are working out for me. I'm creating my own experience, all those things. And it just feels good to have somebody else. That's what the accountability piece feels like to me, who's on the job with me.
I love that. That is actually my favorite. I was just going to reiterate that on the job with me part, because again, we're both entrepreneurs.
Yep.
Yes, we both work for HCI, but I mean, in our own business, talking around money mindset, that's a very personal piece, right? And so this idea of being an island, it can feel really lonely, and you might actually question yourself sometimes. And this is true of whatever your goals are. Like if you're trying to do it on your own, you might question, is this really worth it? Am I crazy? I'm probably the only person that feels this way. This is stupid. And so to have that person to bounce that off of,
Yes.
it's validating too.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
love, you're right. I mean, definitely there have been times where I've read something and I thought, this isn't meant for me, but Amy needs to see this.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
know you've done the same for me.
Yes. And that's what I mean by we don't have to do this alone, and having that accountability, that partnership. it just feels very supportive. Like that's how I feel about accountability. And as you know, we do this in more ways than just the one that we do with each other. We started first with a mastermind. We've continued with a mastermind, which we're all supportive. We all have a common goal that we're working on that we share collectively with each other once a month. We're in another group that's super supportive of our growth. Like we have all these ways of doing that. And so I don't think that we should have to be on an island, right? I don't think that that's the way that we're meant. And it's okay to create whatever dynamic feels best to feel lifting you up and moving you in the direction of what you're creating. So.
And especially right now. I mean, now we've all had to be like literally on islands with quarantine and COVID. And so to know that I have someone across the country who's on the same page as me, you know, is I don't know, it just feels, community is so important. And that's kind of another level of this too, is the sense of community around our intentions for ourselves each day. And like I said, there's been times where I've texted you and said, you know what, I mean, specifically around my mom passing, where I was like, I'm not in that space right now, but I want you to keep sending it to me. Maybe there'd be something in there for me, or maybe I just wanted to make sure that you knew there was still somebody on your team. And you recently did the same thing for me. You weren't feeling it, but you said, please keep sending mine, for me to send mine. What was important about that for you, that I still show up every day?
I do feel like sometimes the messages are also meant for me.
Okay.
And I felt like that was really important, and I didn't want to lose that piece of it. And I was kind of in a shifting mode of like, I didn't want to do anything out of quote unquote habit. I wanted there to be a true intention behind it. And so I was just shifting some things for myself because, obviously COVID and quarantine has shifted a lot. And I reached out to you, right? Like I was struggling with a couple of things, and I was just like, I knew, like when you have that partnership, that accountability, that support, it's so easy to be able to be in your most vulnerable state for someone that you know is safe. And because you're a powerful coach, I knew you could hear something that I shared that I couldn't see for myself because I'm too far inside my glass. Right. And so we don't get to coach ourselves. It would be such a gift, right? Like we can catch ourselves, etc. We can journal things out. We can meditate. We can do all the beautiful, different modalities that are available to us. But the power of having the conversation with someone else that they hear, that what you don't, which is exactly what you did. And I knew you were going to give me that gift. So by you holding that space for me and me holding it for you, even when we weren't feeling it, it gave us permission to be ourselves, right? Because that's the only person I ever want to be, unapologetically, by the way. But I knew you were still going to be there for me for whatever transition or transformation I went through, for whatever was next in our accountability with one another.
Yeah, no, and I've done the same thing to you. I've been like, okay, I just need it. What's great about our relationship is that we have only known each other 2 years. And so there's a newness, whereas I've been with Darren for 30 years, I've got my kids, I got my family, but it's like every once in a while you need somebody. And again, I think that's what's great about a coach. There's somebody who can, know you, but not know everything. And so they hear things in a new way. It's like when somebody new starts at a company and they come in and go, why are you doing it this way?
Right.
Because you've been doing it this way forever. So why wouldn't you keep doing it? Right. And a coach can come in and see like a bird's eye view. And for sure, that's what we've done for each other over the last 2 years. Absolutely.
Undoubtedly. And we don't have to know the whole story.
Right.
We just get to know where you are right now and where you want to go. That's what we get to focus on. And that's what you were just hearing, where I was right now, knowing where I wanted to be, because where I was, I didn't like.
Right.
So
you wanted to get out.
Yes. Yeah. And, oftentimes we're in our own damn way, right?
100%.
Am I allowed to swear? Whoops, I swear.
Yes. No, you know me, virgin ears. I never swear. What are you speaking of?
I always swear. I always tell everybody, look out. But yeah. So, what a better opportunity to figure out how we're in our way is to allow someone else to hear what we have going on.
Well, and even as you were saying that, I was thinking about, there's been times where you or I have had a conversation with each other and hearing it come out of our mouth. Like we almost don't need the other person, but if you don't have anybody to talk to bounce an idea off of, but often you do, and I know you have this with your clients too.
Yes.
Like they'll just be coaching themselves. I'm just like, well, we're done here. You know?
Yes. But isn't that the space we hold? Yeah. Oftentimes they'll say, I need you to fix me. Well, first of all, who said you were broken, right? Why are we using that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's, I hold them completely capable of fixing themselves. I'm just going to ask them some questions to help them. And this is what we do. We know that that's what we do. And so I knew you could do that for me. Right. And also knowing the way that you coach, which I love, is you're going to get to it. And I knew I needed that,
Right. Yeah. There's not a whole lot of flowery with me.
But I love that. I know where I stand, and I'm that kind of person too, where I want to know. I mean, I'm probably going to give some tough love, I'm going to say can't or won't, you're going to hear those things with me, but it's always with love. It's always with compassion for you to hold the highest version of yourself. Right. So,
yeah. I actually pre-frame it that way. I'm always like, okay, I'm about to do some tough love. Like this is not going to be easy to hear. And somehow that does a little bit soften it as well. Just like, let's get real here. I look forward to long-term accountability with you.
Absolutely. And then we'll look back when we were just little babies.
I already do. Don't you?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. 2 years is like 20,
Literally. Sorry, Karen just walked in. I have a sign that says, do not walk in on camera. And what does he do? He walks in on camera.
Wasn't I the one who showed you guys when we were back to the mastermind? Yes. And they were always violated too. So
Yep. I know. It makes me laugh every time. Now, one time I have a sign that says, not on camera, you can walk in. Because sometimes I'm doing these and we're over the phone. And then there's one that says, on camera, do not walk in. And one time he walked in and he was right. The sign was wrong. Not so much. That's okay. It's all live on tape.
That's the best part. Have we not learned how to just roll with it these last few
months? I do think that's the beauty of that. Is to me one of the highlights of COVID is that there's going to be kids screaming. There's going to be there's just nothing. And what a gift. Yeah, you always say that. What a gift. But I mean that to me is the gift of COVID, is letting down all the pretense.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a certain way. We all just need to be.
It literally can't be. So
no.
Yeah. Okay. So before I want to end with hearing about what you can offer people, because I also your coaching is so amazing that I want to make sure people know how to get with you, so to speak. That sounded wrong, but you know what I meant.
Yep.
What would be? I don't know if you know the answer to this. This is totally I'm pulling this out of thin air. What do you think has been the biggest change in the last 2 years? Or is there a particular moment that was like a big aha that you can remember?
During our time together?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Like, speaking of getting out of our own way, right? I thought things had to be a certain way in my life. And that was the only way things could be. And you would say, what if it didn't have to be that way? What if you could let that go? What if that wasn't the truth? What if that, just being able to, and I have just shed layers and layers and layers of rigidity.
Oh my God.
So I can be in a space of more allowing and also creating versus being like reactive.
Yeah.
But my life looks nothing like it did 2 years ago. And I'm totally honoring where I was, but so loving where I am.
Yeah, no, that's for me. When I think about our 2 years together, I think about that first retreat when we first met in person. You couldn't even sit still. You couldn't even sit through the entire thing. You were constantly disappearing. And of course we didn't know each other well enough. I would just be like, oh, okay, there she goes. And just over the course of our time going to retreats together, how much that has changed.
Do you remember how freaked out I was because we didn't have an agenda with times?
Yes.
I'm like, I don't even understand that. I've been in my corporate life for 25 years. I had
still
time
in your
blocks
corporate life.
Oh, I was wholeheartedly, which is why I was up and down, because I was still taking care of clients instead of letting myself take in something for me.
Right.
Yeah. So I've created some serious boundaries, first for me, then others.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And that's really what you bring as a coach, is just like, you've just done this full 180, and there's just so many women out there that they need you as a role model is really the way I look at it. They need to
There's
see that
another way.
yeah, that's it. I mean, that's really it. Like if you were to get a tattoo, that should be your tattoo. There is
for real. God,
yeah.
for real. You remember I used to say I was going to stand on the top of the Chase Tower and scream in Indianapolis, there's another way. It doesn't have to be like this.
So what do you have going on? I already know, but I want you to share it. And then I'm going to put the link so that people can sign up. Tell me.
So I have a fully digital, so think self-independent study course on that's titled Mindset Makeover. It's 4 modules, and it really works through the foundational stuff of how to get from where you are to where you want to go, and what in the hell is blocking you from doing it. So 4 modules that are really powerful.
Do they drop weekly, or do you get them all at once?
So because it's a 4-module course, they'll get it all at once.
Okay.
There are 4 bonus videos, 4 modules full of content and Q&A, and a lot of supportive stuff to go along with that. Journal prompts, affirmations, meditations, lots and lots of various resources for them to be supportive of this change that they create, because it's 4 modules. So that one's fully available, and I'll send you the link for that for anybody that's excited that they can just get right in. The other one, I'm launching my 2nd digital course. This one has been a 30+ year journey. This is titled Ditch the Diets. It's really your guide to food freedom or intuitive eating, which is what I call it. I've done it all, like for real. And I didn't do most of it gracefully. So if I could get somebody to love the way that I love to eat, free of shame and guilt, and then also letting go, it's all mindset as well. It's letting go of like your relationship that you have with it, what you're believing to happen. Because as I shared with you, Lisa, which is why I connected with you, is I caught myself for the first time in years, I think it's been 4 years, binge eating over COVID, right? And I was like, whoa. And I didn't shame or guilt myself. I just got really curious what was going on. And so I just feel like—
you reached out for help.
Yes, I did. I said, I'm curious what's going on here, because as I had said to you, I thought I'd licked this, right?
No one's ever cured.
No, and what the gift is when you acknowledge how far you've come. It'd been 4 years. And when I stepped away from the counter, I didn't shame myself. I just said, wow, what needs to be comforted, right? Mm-hmm. So I'll have the link for them if that's something that that will be a 6-module course that will be dripped over the course of 6 weeks, that you're going to have access to me live as I'm launching it. Live Q&A, live access, that kind of thing. So
how does that work? If somebody doesn't sign up, is it you do it in 6 weeks?
Right. So that'll be once a week.
First one, then they'll have to wait till the next time you launch it.
So because it's live, they'll be put into a private Facebook group. If they can join me live to go to the Q&A, great. If not, they'll have full access, and I'll put it in their membership portal. But it's just a way to be interactive and have more access to me, for it to be very unique and specific to your journey, which is exactly the way I did the mindset course. It's just now in the digital format completely. So,
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll give me the links. I'll get those both. They'll be in, again, we're taping this ahead of time. So they're already in the header of this. So that's perfect. Awesome. Good. Well, for my weight peeps, since that's not really what I do anymore, she would be the master to go to for sure. So if having that healthy relationship with food, if you're interested in sort of going intuitive, Amy absolutely would be the person to go to for that, because that is definitely one of her fortes, and you could not hire a more powerful coach. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you. It's almost like
for a while.
It's almost like in person, but not yet.
Not yet. By the time you'll be flying here.
I know.
By the time I post this, so.
I know. Yes.
All right. So I will see everybody next week on The Things I Know. Thank you very much. Have a great week. And bye.